Hi guys, Samantha from Jessima Tutorials here, and today I'm going to show you how to create a cool African tribal necklace. So we're going to be using souffle today, and so the colours that you're going to need are a sheet of pumpkin, lagoon, igloo and poppy seed, and that's for our one cane. And then for the other one you're going to need cowboy, pistachio, igloo and again poppy seed. And now the only difference that you need to make is all of the colours need to be rolled out on the same setting, which is about 2mm thick for each of them, but the black, instead of it being on the same setting, you need to roll this out until it is let's see, probably about 0.5 millimeter thick. So rest of the sheets 2mm thick, this 0.5 millimeter thick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the first cane, and I'm just going to use one of my largest square maxi cutters, and I'm going to cut out a square of each colour, so it's then going to sit nicely together. And this is a nice little trick to help with trimming, and it also helps a bit with time too. And just clean up the little excess bit that you get. There we go. And we'll basically do the same for the other cane. And I'll show you in which order I do it in the next one too. Okay, and then the black. Right, so now we're ready to begin assembly. So it's going to be orange, green, whoops, blue, not green, white, and then black. And just press these down. And I'm not sure if I said before, but I am using souffle clay for this. Okay, and then once you've got all the colours stuck together, just gently press on the sides to make sure that everything's nice and neat and tidy. It should all fit together pretty well because we cut out with a square, but you just want to make sure. Then we are going to run it through a pasta machine on our thickest setting to lengthen it. Like so. And then just trim away any little bits and pieces that don't sit quite right. I'll just check the other end as well, because we want to keep this nice and neat. And all of these little bits and pieces you can use in lots of different projects. Okay, and then that's as thin as I want to roll it. And I'm going to take it, I'm going to cut in half. And I am going to stack. Okay. And I only wanted to roll it through my pasta machine one time. Now I'm going to cut again. And stack. And then just press in along the edges to make sure that everything fits. And this is what we have so far. Okay. now what you want to do is you want to take some sort of a blunt object like a credit card, and you want to push down and then leave space, push down and leave a fair amount of space between each, because we're going to push down in the opposite direction in a minute. Okay, then I'm gently going to pick that up and flip it. I'm just going to gently press it together again first before I do that. Okay, then I'm going to go and I'm going to press on it, but we've flipped it, so I'll be pressing in the opposite direction. And then gently pick that up again. And then we want to just squish from the sides to press that all back together into one cane. And this is going to squiggle it up a bit and make it look much more interesting. And then I just need to let that rest before we slice it, but that is basically our cane. Okay, and now let me just quickly roll it out to even out all the sides and make sure that it's nice and ready to slice, so that when it's rested we can get on with that. There we go. Pop that to the side, and I'll just quickly bring over the other one. Okay, and so what we're going to do with this one is we're going to go green, brown, and just line them up. With the souffle it doesn't stick immediately, so you need to just line it up. Then the white, and then the black. Yeah, press from either side, and you'll just go through the exact same process. The only difference with this one is that we are using slightly different colours. So you'll run it through your pasta machine once, you will stack it twice, and then you'll go with your card and you will press into it to create that almost feathered pattern. Okay. And so here is how both of our canes look, and it's got a really cool feathered effect. So now what you want to do is you want to grab a piece of white clay, again the igloo, and cut out one piece of that and a piece of the black as well, and they both should be about the same thickness, which is about 2 millimeters in my case. And I'm just going to stack them, and we want to make twice as much of this now, so you want to cut out another piece of black and another piece of white, and then you'll repeat the process that you did with each of these. Okay, so all 3 canes are now done, and so we're now going to work on assembling our beads. So for the first one we're going to be making rondelles. So you're going to take your colour that is based at the top. Don't worry about the black, that doesn't count. You're going to be using the colour that's at the top. So for instance, this one, it will be the pistachio. This one, it is the pumpkin. So you'll take that and just roll that into a tube, because that will make life a bit easier. And roll it into a thinnish tube. I'd probably say maybe about 1 centimetre in diameter. And try to get even the whole way along. Now just chop off the ends, and then you want to cut equal segments. Okay. And then you'll take each of those segments and roll it into a little ball, like so. And actually, instead of rolling it into a ball, just roll it into a slight tube, like so. And then we'll take this, and I'm going to slice towards me because it's easier for me to see. And I want to cut as thin a slice as I can. And I'm going to wrap that around. And then when I meet the other end, I'll just gently press and then pull back. And I should be able to see the seam where I need to cut so that it can join up. And this end you can just pinch down, that end will do fine. And this side just gently pinch down as well, like so. And you'll just pinch each end like so until you've basically covered up that orange bit. You're just going to be stretching the cane just a touch. Okay. Then when you've done that, give it a light roll in your hands just to smooth things out. You don't want to do too much rolling. And then now that you've got it back into a ball shape, you want to press on the top, like so. And you can use something flat, like your credit card, to do that, so that you make a rondelle. And you want to make a whole bunch of these in with this cane. And then for these ones, you're going to be doing something different. You take any base colour you want, preferably the one that is presented mostly in your cane. So for the green one, that will be the pistachio, and for the black and white one, I'll probably just do black, because both colours are equal. And you'll roll out a tube like so, and roll it out fairly thin. And try to get even along its width. Okay. And then I'm going to cut on each end. Then I'll grab this, and I'm going to take a few slices and try to keep them as thin as you can, but try and keep them all even as well. Then what I want you to do, so I want you to trim one end so that it's nice and straight. And then wrap that around. And sometimes the easiest way to do this is to actually take your canes, trim one side flat, and then pop it on. And you want to be trying to keep the exact same pattern so that it's green to black, like so. And then all you'll do is you'll take that, you'll roll that up, see where the seam is, cut, and then just join that up together. And then you'll just continue doing that the whole way up your log, and you'll do the exact same thing for the black. Okay, so I have finished creating all of our little tube beads, and now I've cut up most of them. These are just the ones that I have left. And so all you're going to do is you're going to cut them into segments, like so. And the others are just resting on a piece of greaseproof paper off to the side. and you'll just take those and pop them with them. And you'll do the same for these, just with these ones you want them to be quite a bit shorter. Then you'll just cut out as many as you need, then pop them onto a piece of plain printing paper or greaseproof paper, completely up to you, and then bake for a full hour at souffle's recommended temperature. Okay, so these are out of the oven, and I've already drilled most of them to save time. And we're not going to have to sand them because they're pretty good on their own. You can go and sand them, but it's not going to make much of a difference because we are using souffle. And so as long as you didn't smudge your beads while you were making them, you shouldn't need to sand them. So I'll just bring over one of each of the beads. And all we're going to do is we're going to take our pin drill and we're going to start on one end of a tube bead. And we're going to drill probably around halfway through, and then drill the other half. And now if you guys happen to use resin, you might want to save these shavings that you get from these beads, and I'll just show you some of those in a minute, because if you use resin they look really cool when mixed with some resin and then cast. Especially if the shavings are nice and colourful. If sometimes, most of the time the shavings kind of look like old leftover clay, but this time around we've got some nice colourful shavings. So there's our first one, and then this one will do the same, and you'll see that this one's shavings are going to be nice and orange. So if you do happen to use resin, I would advise saving these little bits and pieces because they can look really cool inside resin. Just an idea anyway. So it's going to take a little while for you guys to do all of the drilling, but it's going to look really nice afterwards. And so each one is fairly easy to drill, just takes a little while. And then when we're done with this, I'll bring over some other extra little bone beads because I want to just add those. It's almost like spaces. And then we will start assembling our necklace, and it's going to be a 2-strand necklace. There we go. So these are just some of the shavings, and this is what I got from all of the beads. So hopefully you can see how many there are there. And that you can just go and embed in some resin, and so I like to store this in a little plastic bag and use it in other projects. Okay, so let's get started. So first you're going to want a length of Acuflex. I'm just going to quickly get me one of those. There we go. And then you're going to need a few findings. So I'm going to need one crimp bead to start with, and a charlotte crimp. You'll string on the charlotte crimp first, then your crimp bead. And then you'll use some flat nose pliers to gently squish that crimp and bring the charlotte crimp or clam crimp over the top. And then grab a jump ring, and we're going to attach that to a connector. Okay, and that connector is going to be attached to our clasp. And that's the first part. And actually I think I need to add another jump ring there. Just to get it to sit the right way. There we go. Okay, and then all you're going to do is you're going to start stringing your beads. So let me just bring those beads over. And these are just some bone rondelles that I have. And there what I'm going to be using as spacers. So you're just going to take one rondelle, then a green tube, then a rondelle, and then another larger orange rondelle, then a bone rondelle, and then a tube. And you just continue repeating this pattern up the whole necklace until you've used up the number of beads you need. Okay, so I decided to change the rondelles that I used to a much more black colour, and I think that looks better. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to quickly finish this off. We're going to grab a charlotte crimp or clam crimp, and then just a normal crimp bead, and just make sure that you've got it in the right spot, and then use some pliers to get in there and crimp that bead shut. And then before you do anything, pull on it to see if it's going to move, and it shouldn't move. If it does, you need to go in and just crimp it a little bit more. Then you need to trim away the excess cord that you have. And then close that clam crimp. Grab a jump ring. Pop it onto that cord connector because we're going to attach another necklace. Grab another crimp, and not a crimp, a jump ring. Attach that to your connector, and then attach the other jump ring to your clasp. And there we are. That's what we have so far. Let me just see if these are hanging right. Yep. Okay, so I'll just move that out of the way. And you'll want to cut another length of AccuFlex. And just like before, you'll grab a charlotte crimp or a clam crimp. Crimp bead, crimp that, bring your other crimp up, close that over your crimp bead, and grab a jump ring. And just open that and pop it in here. And we're not going to connect it to the necklace just yet. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to bring over some other rondelles. And what we're going to do is we're going to have some black and some white, and we're just going to alternate between the two. And the same size rondelle. So I'm going to start with white, then one of these black beads, then a black rondelle, then a bead, and a white rondelle, and so on until you finish your necklace. Now this one needs to be shorter than the other one. And now I just want to string a few to see if I like it. I might want to just use white rondelles. We'll see, I'll string a few and see how it looks. I quite like it like that, but I might change it. We'll see once I've strung the whole thing. So I'll just continue doing that, and then just make sure that this strand is, let's see, maybe around an inch shorter, an inch to half an inch shorter than your previous strand. Okay, so I ended up going with the black, white rondelles because I think it does look quite nice. So now what we need to do is we just need to pop our charlotte crimp on, another crimp bead, and I'm just gonna crimp that, make sure it's nice and stuck, and again like before give it a little pull to see if it will give. Didn't give. Trim away the excess Acuflex. Close our crimp. And grab another crimp. And there's just a little bit of a tail there that I want to try and get rid of. There we go. Okay. Bring this over. And we're just going to open up each of these jump rings, and we're going to pop them onto the other end of our little cord connector, and the same on this side. And there we go, that is the necklace finished. So let me just quickly grab it and fit it together, which will just take a second. There we go. There we go. And now I'm just going to quickly go pop this onto a necklace stand so you guys can see it properly. Okay, and so here is how it looks on the necklace stand. And so it's quite a long necklace. You can shorten it up if you want. Let me just zoom you in for some details. And you can see it's a lot more vibrant in person. It's quite hard to catch on the camera. There you can see it's quite a pretty necklace. And you'll have seen photos of it before watching the video. So that's basically it for this tutorial, and so I do hope that you enjoyed it, and if you did, please do let me know in the comments below. Do post photos of what you did using this project on Facebook or on my Facebook group. I'll have a link to my Facebook group as well, and tag me in those posts so that I can see what you guys have made. And as always, I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye for now.